be an episode of Gossip Girl. I guess girl bossing and gatekeeping does work. Marrying a psychic medium who got them kicked out of England. Kardashians have nothing on them. Why would you be dressed as a tree? One of the most iconic bitch fights in history has to be the one between Coco Chanel and Elsa Schiaparelli, where Coco Chanel is the drama. She is the drama and not a girl's girl whatsoever. Let's get into this. Honestly, this has been covered quite a lot by the media, which I had no idea about. And the only reason I found out about this entire feud was because I have to do a project for my master's in fashion where we chose Elsa Schiaparelli as a designer to do so. So I found out all that I could about her, and the best part was this entire thing with Coco Chanel that went down. Let's get into this. I'm recording this screen and we're gonna read some articles about it because it's just the Kardashians have nothing on them. I would have liked to see a reality show. It would have been the best one, like in the history of TV. Like honestly, I would have ate that shit up. Oh my god, let's get into this. The first thing I found was this iconic article by Eternal Goddess, not scholarly or academic whatsoever, but the way that this woman wrote this thing, an article has never made me laugh this hard. So we're gonna read it together. Literally like the fiery feud between Coco Chanel and Elsa Schiaparelli. I'm really trying to pronounce this name here in Italian fashion since I am in Italy, not the protein powder ads. This is actually embarrassing. Okay, so to not dive headfirst into this feud, let's give a little bit of a history behind the two designers, which I think a lot of people would know about Chanel. Maybe not as many people know about like Schiaparelli's background and history, so let's talk about that. First few sentences basically saying that both Chanel and Schiaparelli are like high on a list of 20th century designers, where Chanel's like the most famous one and Schiaparelli might be on a list, might not be on a list. Like it's debatable on like how famous she is, like depends on the person probably. But the designs of Coco Chanel and Elsa Schiaparelli during the 1930s were like chalk and cheese. Coco opted for sleek and neutral, whereas Elsa was working alongside the surrealist art movements of the 1930s. It was inevitable that tensions would rise between the two, and rise they did. So Chanel was like a classic, same old same. Chic, but it was still revolutionary because she was the one that like really changed how the women dress. So like many women were still opting to wear corsets and full-length gowns like that of the Edwardian era. Chanel's fashion included trousers and soft knit tops, taking much inspiration from men's fashion. So she quickly became the ITGIRL designer, not just of Paris but the rest of Europe and eventually the USA. Not the protein powder ads. By the 1930s, the Parisian art movement had moved into surrealism, where everything was dreamlike and distorted. So while Dali was creating trippy art, Coco's fashion designs began to seem rather tame in comparison, and it was only going to get worse. And here's where Schiaparelli comes in. She was born in Rome in 1890 to an aristocratic family. She was a woman who knew what she wanted, also a very girl boss, and refused to marry any of the rich suitors offered by her parents, and instead ran away, marrying a psychic medium who got them kicked out of England for illegal practices. Like the first part of that sentence really was like Cher saying, "Mom, I am a rich man," and then this happened. Got kicked out of England, moved to the USA. Elsa got pregnant by this guy who then abandoned her and their newborn baby, which like, what the fuck? So she returned to Europe around 1922 and delved headfirst into the surrealist and Dada art movements that were beginning to make waves. In 1927, she began selling her famous sweaters. Let's show a picture of that. We're gonna look into this famous sweater. It honestly kind of looks like a Zara thing. Like you would be able to find that at Zara right now, but. And then here we have the iconic lobster. Continuing with the history behind this feud, as the years began to pass, Schiaparelli became more and more popular and became popular with celebrities, and her brand began to soar. Important to note that Chanel has never lost its popularity, not even during the 1930s when her styles were kind of too conservative, but she never went away. So even though people fell in love with Elsa's designs, they just weren't everyone's type. But still, Coco was intimidated and frankly hated Elsa for how popular she had become. Coco had learned to sew during her time in an orphanage as a child, but Elsa had no form of training in sewing and started creating her designs via draping. This is one of the most iconic lines. Coco decided to girl boss and gatekeep and judged Elsa for this lack of formal training. giving her opponent the moniker "that Italian artist who makes clothes." Refused to name Elsa by her name. And what's in a name? And I don't think this is that bad. It's just like the derogative way of like saying that, like the that makes it like the rest of the words really are not that insulting. It's just the that makes it. At least that's my opinion. At least she gave the respect of referring to her as an artist, right? Elsa, of course, had her own name for Coco, choosing to call her that hat maker for the fact that Chanel started or began as a milliner. Well, oh my god, we're getting to the best part here. While their rivalry was generally just verbal, there was one occasion where it apparently got fiery, literally, when Coco set Elsa on fire. And one of the last costume balls in Europe before the outbreak of World War II, Chanel accidentally called Schiaparelli's dress on fire after asking Elsa to dance with her, which was a toxic idea to begin with. Chanel steered her rival, who was dressed as a tree, into a chandelier lit with candles. Before too much damage could be caused, Gus quickly doused Elsa in soda water, extinguishing the flames. And I read somewhere else that she, like, this was all deliberate. Like, she asked Elsa to dance with her because she wanted to set her on fire. It was all part of the plan, and this gives me the most Blair Waldorf and Serena vibes. Like, this could be an episode of Gossip Girl. It really could. Like, I could see Blair setting Serena on fire. These are the OGs. But before their squabbles could progress any further, war meant that both ladies had no choice but to shut down shop. Whilst Elsa stayed out of the limelight while the war raged on, Coco became a Nazi spy. Still, like, shocks me every time I read it, even though I know about this. And after the war, Schiaparelli tried to reignite her brand, but it shut down in 1954, while Coco would release a new fashion collection in black and white, which took Americans' heart. Eventually, the French and the rest of Europe were once more in a love affair with Chanel and its timeless style. Like, I guess girl bossing and gatekeeping does work, at least with Chanel. Look at how big they are. Coco would have been secretly pleased to see Elsa's brand disintegrate, but Schiaparelli hasn't been completely lost. The brand was revived in September 2013 with Italian designer blah blah blah, and has been accelerating in popularity ever since. Just the other week, well, this is old news. This year isn't like the most famous person to wear Schiaparelli, Kylie Jenner, with that gorgeous dress that she wore, like the Marilyn Monroe inspired dress, even though the shoes that she wore, like literally with the feet outline, were so, well, I mean, it is Schiaparelli though, so it makes a lot of sense. But it took away from the dress. Like, the dress was beautiful. This is like this. The last line made me laugh so hard. Well, Schiaparelli takes inspiration from the surrealist ideas of Elsa and modernizes them. Chanel isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but there is something gratifying seeing Schiaparelli back on such a high. Perhaps I have a bias over Elsa. After all, Coco was a Nazi. Just imagine like closing your article with this, like being a journalist, being able to close your article with this, like mic drop. It's iconic. This is iconic. I love this article. This is the fifth time that I've read it, and every time I just love it just as my girl boss and gatekeep. After all, maybe I have a bias. I say, like, if this might be, can I say this? It might be a little bit insensitive. They would have started their own world war. Hadn't it been for like the actual war dousing their fire, this would have become a very big thing. Change my mind about that. Well, this is like the most in-depth article that I read about it, and like every other article just talks about the instance where she set her dress on fire. So this is Harper's Bazaar. Of course, they were rivals, privately damning each other with faint praise. It is also claimed that Chanel once succeeded in setting Schiaparelli on fire. At one of the last great costume balls before the outbreak of World War II, Bettina Ballard wrote Chanel costumed as herself, dared Schiaparelli, who had disguised herself as a surrealist tree, to dance with her. With purposeful innocence, Chanel steered her dance partner straight into a chandelier ablaze with candles, and Schiaparelli caught fire. The fire was put out, and so was Schiaparelli by delighted guests squirting her with soda water. Also, like, why would you be dressed as a tree? It's just asking for trouble. I mean, it is surrealism for you, but like, I'm so confused. Like, costumed as herself with, and then dared her to dance. This says dared Schiaparelli to dance with her. So like, if this was a dare, I think it's even more iconic. It's like, I dare you to dance with me and like see what happens. If that is actually the case, it's kind of Schiaparelli's own fault for taking the bait or asking her to dance. Could be like Schiaparelli said no, and then Chanel was mad and pushed her into the fire. What I'm picturing, pull someone in and then you let them go, like them spinning away from you, and doing that with Schiaparelli, and then her just falling into the fire, like into the candles. That is what I'm picturing with this. Iconic. And then what else? I found this on LinkedIn. Honestly, I didn't even know that LinkedIn did articles. Like, people post articles on LinkedIn. But what is this person saying? Chanel and Schiaparelli's rivalry extend beyond their personal dislike for one another. Their design philosophies and aesthetic represented two distinct worlds that emerged during the interwar period. Chanel's designs embraced practical elegance. Her clothing allowed women to move freely, challenging traditional gender roles and empowering them with newfound freedom. The minimalist aesthetic of her creations was an ode to modernity and sophistication, captivating women worldwide with its underrated allure. On the other hand, Schiaparelli's fashion was an unapologetic celebration of surreal playfulness. Her avant-garde sensibilities blended with artistic expression resulted in bold, unconventional designs that defied convention. From the famed Trompe Bleu, oh my god, I could not pronounce this for the life of me, to outrageous hat designs, Schiaparelli's pieces were provocative and whimsical, designed to make a statement and evoke emotion. They're just so different from each other, so like I don't understand why Chanel felt intimidated by Schiaparelli. It's like not as if she was gonna replace her, but I guess that's what you do when you girl boss and gatekeep. Like, the tea was hot, but it's getting colder by the second, literally. Their legacy is not just about the clothes they created, but about the impact that they had on an entire generation of designers who followed in their footsteps. Their influence transcends trends, and their designs continue to inspire and shape the way we dress today. So, dear readers, as we draw the curtain on the captivating tale of passion, ambition, and enduring power of fashion and the power of women, let us raise a toast, blah blah blah. May their legacies forever sparkle. The ever-evolving constellation of style reminding us that fashion is more than just fabric and threads, it's drama. Well, she says it's an art that weaves the fabric of culture and society together, but also it's drama and girl bossing and gatekeeping that keeps women apart sometimes. My camera, oh fuck, my battery is flashing. Well, there's one thing. This was actually published like 3 days ago, where someone in London made sculpture like immortalizing Chanel and Schiaparelli's feud in the latest exhibition at the Grey MCA Gallery, casting 40 of the designer's seminal looks in bronze. So like them being put together. Chanel would have hated that. Like, the sculptures are beautiful. If you have the chance to go, I would highly recommend going there, because I really would like to do that myself. December 6th, 2023. Like, this is a new thing. Go there. I love the 2018 Chanel look. This is not like a drama, but it's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I will put all the links down below, because this is just iconic and I want to get into it more. The first article is just the best one. If you're gonna take anything from this, sometimes it's okay to girl boss and gatekeep and set someone's hair on fire, because it means you'll come out winning on the other side. Oh my god, the drama. I'm living for this. I love it.